Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out some incredibly spicy battles in the Open Ultra League featuring NOIVERN. NOIVERN is a dragon and flying type Pokemon with the moveset of Air Slash, Psychic, and Draco Meteor. So you may notice right off the bat, this Pokemon does not have a bait move, meaning that it's definitely a tricky Pokemon to use. Even so, I paired it up with a Runerigus and a Tackle Greedent, and was able to actually have a 5-0 set with it at Legend rank. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out NOIVERN in action in the Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty decent lead, Runerigus into Jellicent. I am able to outpace in this matchup, which is quite nice, as I get to my Shadow Ball just before they get to theirs. I fire off the Shadow Ball gets the shield, I farm up, switch, but my opponent does not throw their Shadow Ball. They bank their energy, and they bring in Scrafty. I do have shield advantage, but this is definitely a tough spot to be in if you're Greedent, as Scrafty is able to boost up their counter damage more and more and more via Power Up Punch. They fire off Power Up Punch number 1. I am able to reach my second Body Slam, and this is going to be getting them quite low. And if they farm down, I may be able to get to a third. Greedent continues to farm. Scrafty does not want to let that happen, and they're going to be firing off a Power Up Punch. Power Up Punch is going to KO. In comes NOIVERN. NOIVERN going for the farm down, but Scrafty lives on very low HP. This is a double boosted foul play, and it does quite a lot of damage. In the back, they have Nidoqueen, and this is winnable. I go for the catch onto Runerigus. They hold on to their energy, and they bring back in Jellicent. Jellicent does have a lot of energy here. I commit the shield. It's the Shadow Ball. This is only a Bubble Beam, though, so I can let this go. This is only a Bubble Beam that is going to debuff me, but now I get to overfarm and then fire off the Shadow Ball into the Jellicent, and this Shadow Ball, even debuffed, would be lethal. Jellicent commits the shield, they farm up, and they lose CMP to Runerigus. Runerigus takes out the Jellicent, and now back in comes the Shadow Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is going to fire off a charge move. They need to throw an Earth Power to KO here. Earth Power is going to take out Runerigus. In comes NOIVERN. All NOIVERN has to do is shield, and I have the energy for the Psychic. Poison Fang gets shielded, and NOIVERN gets its revenge. Psychic taking out the Shadow Nidoqueen, and that is a good game. Nightmare lead in the next match, Runerigus into Scrafty. This is going to be a team effort to get rid of the Scrafty. To start, I'm going to stay in with Runerigus and go for a Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb, not going to be doing a lot of damage, but it gets a very important debuff. My plan is to Sand Tomb into Shadow Ball and then bring in my Greedent. Now, after a Sand Tomb, Tackle from Greedent actually does 3 damage to Scrafty instead of 2, which is a pretty significant difference. I fire off the Shadow Ball, in comes Greedent, and as you're going to see, these tackles really start to add up against the debuffed Scrafty. They go for a Power Up Punch, that's perfectly fine. Scrafty, honestly in range to get farmed down as they fire off this foul play. That does quite a lot of damage, and they're going to send in Nidoqueen. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam just before they're able to reach the Poison Fang. Body Slam is going to land onto the Nidoqueen, and Nidoqueen is going to fire off a Poison Fang. Perfectly fine by me. I'm going to let this go. They go for the Poison Fang, but I'm still able to reach another Body Slam. That is big. Greedent able to get the Nidoqueen low. Aggressive switch into Runerigus. They fire off a Poison Fang, and I am not going to be shielding this. I should be able to farm up 3 more and then fire off the Sand Tomb just before they reach their next Poison Fang. The Sand Tomb is going to KO, and the Scrafty's low enough that I can actually take care of the Scrafty. In the back, they have Talonflame. No baits here. I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball, able to connect. My opponent called the bait, and now their entire team is going to get Air Slash down by NOIVERN. Let's go. That was my win con. Opponent trying to call a bait. They did, and now NOIVERN is going to farm down their entire team. Down goes Talonflame. They bring in Scrafty. Just for fun, I'm going for the Draco Meteor. Massive overkill on the Scrafty, and that is a good game. The bad leads continue in the next match. Runerigus into Umbreon. Immediate save switch into Greedent, and Umbreon is staying in here, which works out very nicely for me. I am not going to be committing a shield in this matchup. The longer they stay in, the better it is for me, because that will misalign our switch clocks. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam into the Umbreon. Body Slam lands. Opponent is going to fire off another Dark Pulse, and again, not going to be lethal, so I'm not going to be committing a shield. Dark Pulse number 2 lands, and then they send in a Shadow Zapdos, so my opponent running some serious spice. I fire off the Body Slam. That does a ton of damage. Shadow Zapdos hits very hard but is incredibly glassy. At this point, I just want to get shields down. If I can get shields down, NOIVERN with its double nuke charge moves is going to be able to put in some work. So I fire off the body slam and they commit the shield. That's massive. You know what? I'm going to commit my second shield to try and trick them into committing their second shield as well. So I continue to farm. I fire off the body slam just before they get to the drill peck here. Body slam gets the shield and I manage to get shields down. Now I'm going to air slash down with NOIVERN, and NOIVERN with an energy lead and shields down should hopefully be able to put in a lot of work here. We'll have to see. We know they have the Umbreon. What is that final Pokemon? And their final Pokemon is a Venusaur. Oh my goodness, these air slashes adding up quite a bit. They go for the Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant is double resisted. That's not going to be doing a lot of damage. I will overfarm quite a bit with NOIVERN and go for the Psychic. This Psychic will be lethal as it takes out the Venusaur. Back in comes Umbreon. XL Umbreon is notoriously tanky. NOIVERN going for the Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor able to land, nearly taking out the Umbreon. The Air Slash goes through. Air Slash will be taking care of the Umbreon and securing the win. Hopping into the next match, sending Runerigus into Registeel, the absolute dream lead. Opponent save switches into Shadow Walrein, and I respond with my Greedent. Greedent definitely not a perfect answer to Walrein by any means, but considering I am ABA weak to Walrein, it's very nice to see it here compared to anywhere else on my team. They're going to fire off an Icicle Spear. They do have a second one loaded. They're going to overfarm and then go for Icicle Spear number 2. I do survive 2 Icicle Spears, so I'm going to let that go and then fire off the Body Slam before they're able to reach a third. I'm hoping they don't try and make a play for switch advantage, but it looks like they're going to do exactly that. And the unfortunate thing is that I get to my Body Slam in 12 turns, whereas they get to their Icicle Spear in 10. I farm up, opponent gives up switch, and that is absolutely incredible for me. I'm going for the Shadow Ball right off the bat. This is going to do quite a lot of damage to the Registeel. Registeel is stuck in an absolutely miserable matchup where both of their charge moves are resisted. They go for the Zap Cannon, and to add insult to injury, they don't even get a debuff. I'm going to actually go for the Sand Tomb here. Sand Tomb, not going to be doing a lot of damage, but thanks to the debuff, I'm hopeful that I should be able to put it into a range where farm plus a second Sand Tomb is going to be enough to KO, because I do want to try and leave with energy if at all possible. So I overfarm quite a bit, and I'm going for the Sand Tomb, hoping this is going to be enough to KO. Registeel, barely able to hang on, but the Shadow Claw KOs. Back in comes the Walrein, and I'm going for the Sand Tomb. Sand Tomb will take them out. Opponent is going to commit the final shield. They continue to farm. I switch into Greedent, and I'm able to make a catch. And now we'll have to see, can NOIVERN close in the endgame? They have Cresselia. Cresselia, definitely not what I was hoping to see, because Moonblast is going to do a ton of damage here. Moonblast able to land, almost getting NOIVERN into the red health. I farm up, and I'm going to respond with the Draco Meteor. This Draco Meteor is going to hurt in retaliation, getting the Cresselia very low. Cresselia is not going to be able to build up to the back-to-back moves because you can't hold 2 Moonblasts. They fire off the Moonblast. I bring in Runerigus, and I'm going straight for the Shadow Ball. This Shadow Ball will be taking out the Cresselia. In comes the Walrein. Runerigus farms down and secures the win. Picking up a tough lead in Game 5 of the set, Runerigus into Trevenant. I save switch into Greedent. My opponent banks a Seed Bomb for later, and then brings in their hard counter of Cobalion. Honestly, an incredibly good play by my opponent there, recognizing they had a dominant matchup, so they could stay in and bank a Seed Bomb for later, because that Seed Bomb is going to apply a lot of pressure onto my Runerigus later in the game. Cobalion just absolutely crushes Greedent in this matchup. They're going to fire off a Sacred Sword, and honestly, they can just farm down, because I'm not going to be able to deal enough damage to this Cobalion to threaten a shield. Body Slam is going to get them low, but Cobalion does get the farm down, and now, since they farmed me down, it's time to return the favor. I'm not shielding a thing here. I resist everything Cobalion has. I'm just going to go for the farm down. They're going to fire off back-to-back Stone Edges. That is perfectly fine by me. I'm going to commit to the farm down here. Runerigus gets the farm down. Back in comes Trevenant, and I'm going to bait with the Sand Tomb. This is a risky bait, hoping for a shield, and I get it. That's massive. They farm up, and they're going to fire off a Seed Bomb here. This is tough. I'm expecting they're going to try and CMP me, so I farm up, switch, and I'm able to catch a Seed Bomb onto NOIVERN. Let's go. Seed Bomb is double resisted in the back. They have Cresselia, but I see a win con. Moonblast is not going to be enough to KO here, so I'm going to let this through. And NOIVERN, not the easiest mon to Psycho Cut down. So I'm going to farm up, go for the Draco Meteor, as this Draco Meteor, as we've seen, is going to hurt. Draco Meteor, able to land, dealing big damage to the Cresselia. Cress is going to overfarm as much as they possibly can, and in this moment, I have a win con. All I have to do is commit to the farm down with Runerigus, because if I can leave with 100 energy, that Trev cannot get to another Seed Bomb. They go for the Future Sight, in comes the Trevenant, and I fire off the Shadow Ball. This Shadow Ball will be taking them out. Opponent forced to commit the shield. They go for the farm down, but Runerigus says no. Able to reach a last second Shadow Ball, taking out the Trevenant. In comes the Cresselia. Runerigus farms down, securing the win and the 5-0 set. You love to see it. Hopping into the next match, leading Runerigus into Giratina. This is a pretty nice lead for Runerigus, even if they are running Shadow Claw. So I'm going to stay in here, go for the Shadow Ball, and they end up firing a move on the CMP tie, hoping Shadow Ball is able to land, but my opponent does commit the shield. That is quite unfortunate. Shadow Sneak does hit for super effective, but it's not enough to KO. So I'm going to let that through, continue to farm, switch, and catch a Shadow Sneak onto my Greedent. Let's go. This way, I make their energy completely useless, and I'm able to save some energy on my Runerigus. They're going to bank some energy on Giratina and send in Politoed. Honestly, I kind of wish they kept Politoed in the back, because if they're not running Blizzard, then NOIVERN would absolutely crush this thing. They're going to fire off their energy. They're just going for the Earthquake straight away, and that is going to do quite a lot of damage. I will return fire with the Body Slam. This Body Slam is not lethal, but it will get the Politoed into the red. Politoed continues to farm, and I'm able to reach another Body Slam. This will KO if they let it through. My opponent lets the Politoed go, and that is massive. We'll have to see what they have in the back. I'm not expecting them to bring back in the Giratina, and they have a Defense Deoxys. Deoxys continuing to farm. Greedent able to get to a Crunch, and this Crunch is definitely going to hurt. Crunch able to land. Greedent is going to get farmed all the way down by Deoxys. I send in Runerigus. This Psycho Boost is going to hurt. I should be able to live it though. They go for the Psycho Boost. I go for the Shadow Ball. Opponent goes for the Snipe, but I'm able to get the Shadow Ball off. Shadow Ball gets the final shield. They do have energy, and now it's all up to NOIVERN. The unfortunate thing is that I have to leave with a move to be able to take out this Deoxys, because Deoxys does have a loaded Rock Slide waiting for my NOIVERN. So I will commit the shield on the Dragon Claw, and I just have to massively overfarm in this matchup. But Giratina is just so spammy, and NOIVERN is not whatsoever. And unfortunately, I am not going to be able to get nearly enough energy. Giratina will be able to take out my NOIVERN, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading Runerigus into another Giratina. Same game plan as before, I am going to stay in this lead to start. They farm up, and they're going to fire off a move before I'm able to reach my Shadow Ball. I let this go. They only throw a Dragon Claw, so either they were baiting, or they're running Ancient Power instead of Shadow Sneak. I decide to bait in return, and the Sand Tomb gets the shield. That's massive. This is only a Dragon Claw, so that tells me they're probably running Ancient Power instead. I farm up, they save switch into Sylveon, and suddenly I'm very worried that this could be Double Charm. Shadow Ball is able to land, and in comes Greedent. Greedent is going to be farming up quite a bit, and I go for the Body Slam before they're able to reach their Psyshock. Body Slam gets the Sylveon low, and I'm able to tackle down. That's massive. We know they still have that Giratina, and my guess is they're probably going to send it back in, because unfortunately they are not in crunch range. So they're actually going to be able to put in some solid work going up against my Greedent. They fire off the Dragon Claw. I'm going to return fire with the Crunch. This will hit for super effective damage, but it's non-stab, so they're able to survive it. No defense drop either. Giratina going to be firing off another Dragon Claw, and if this is another Charmer in the back, I could very well be in trouble. I'm going to farm up, switch, and make a catch onto my Runerigus. So at the very least, I am saving some energy for later in the match. They do get the farm down. Tough decisions ahead here. I think I have to bring in NOIVERN. So I bring in NOIVERN. I farm up. In the back, it is another Charmer. Charmalolan Ninetales. I'm able to reach the Psychic. My only hope is that they don't respect NOIVERN. Psychic is able to land, and I get the defense drop, and suddenly there may be a win con. I send in Greedent. They fire off a charge move, and I'm able to get a little bit of extra energy there. I'm going to farm up, fire off the body slam. This will get the shield. I need to be able to get to body slam number 2. Greedent gets to body slam number 2. This will take out the Ninetales. I'm very low. So is the Giratina. Can they farm me down before I get to a body slam? This will be close. In comes Giratina. Battle of resisted damage. Greedent gets to the body slam. And against all odds, we're able to take out the double charm team. And that is a good game. All in all, I had a ton of fun in these battles with Ultra League NOIVERN. NOIVERN in Go Battle League is definitely a very flawed Pokemon. Air Slash, not the greatest fast move, and its lack of any bait move really holds it back from any true viability. So while these were some fun battles, this is definitely not a Pokemon I would recommend investing in, at the very least, until they give it a bait move. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.